Hello garden friends, Sylvia here, along with my little buddy Potato. And there is a big buddy, Fafik, here at my feet. With record-breaking summers followed by record-breaking winters, you're probably struggling to figure out what perennials will withstand both of these extremes. Well, I don't have all the answers, but I can show you which edible perennials survived in my garden throughout the record-breaking heat of summer 2023, which was followed by actual freezing temperatures just months later. All of these plants survived with zero or very little protection. This is by no means any kind of complete list, but it is what did well in my garden. And if you're anything like me, you will appreciate any pointers you can get. Without further ado, let's get into this very quick list. And lastly, welcome to my Central Texas oasis. Number 1, figs. I have two, Celeste and Brown Turkey, and they are both in the ground, and of course they lost all of their leaves in the winter, but they are supposed to. I kept them completely uncovered and unprotected throughout the freezes that we had in January, as well as the previous year. Now they are growing back. They also need full sun and don't care about extremely hot temperatures at all. In the area I'm in, it is totally safe to put them in the ground because the temperatures don't get so low that they would be damaged in the winter, and I bet that makes them additionally resilient. Number 2, blueberries. They actually need some cold to develop fruit in spring. It's called chilling hours. I am growing rabbit eye blueberries, which are suited for the south, so they don't need a lot of chilling hours and can also withstand heat really well. Unprotected, these blueberries will start taking damage only if it starts getting to about -5 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer, I did have them under a shade cloth because I reached them over from the tomato beds. I also had them on automatic irrigation, which is also very important for blueberries. I actually have a video coming up about growing blueberries in a warm climate like Central and South Texas, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. In number 3, we have chili pekin, which is a small native bush producing small spicy peppers. I was actually surprised, but all of mine are growing back. The one in the container is growing back from the roots, whereas the one in the ground is growing back from the main stem, which once again shows you the resilience of things planted in the ground. The temperatures dropped to 20 for several days in a row, and I thought they weren't going to make it, but they totally did. They are native to the area, so they didn't care about the historic summer heat waves either. Number 4, blackberries. I have one thornless bush, which I planted last spring. I placed a plastic container over it to protect it during the winter freezes, and it seems to be growing back now. I don't do anything to protect it in the summer, and it is placed in a spot where it receives full sun. Blackberries overall are the actual best and easiest berries to grow in Central and South Texas. Number 5, prickly pear cactus. You can eat not just the fruit it produces, but also the cactus petals themselves, obviously after removing the spines. It's especially common in Mexican cuisine, and when used in dishes, it's called nopalitos. I had to protect it the year before when the temperatures went down to single digits, but this year, with the low being around 20, I left it out just like this, and it's clearly fine. Obviously, it thrives in the summer pretty much no matter how high the temperatures get. I mean, it is a cactus after all. With number 6, we are going to move on to perennial herbs. First up, we have lemon balm. Honestly, it can grow like a weed. Case in point, this guy right here has been doing just that for more than a couple years now. It's in full blasting sun in the summer, and while it doesn't look the best at the height of the summer, it's still in an acceptable shape. In the winter, the foliage can take damage below freezing, and you have to cut it down, but it always, and I mean always, comes back from the roots. This applies to the ones I had in containers as well. Number 7, rosemary. I have two prostrate rosemary plants in my front yard where they receive full blast summer sun and probably some dog pee too. Obviously, I don't consume these ones. I simply let them be, both in the summer and in the winter, and they seem to have survived the low 20s just fine. This other one isn't looking as hot, probably because I might have accidentally shared it with a weed whacker recently, but it is sending out fresh shoots, so it seems like it will recover. 8 is mint. I mean, who's surprised? I will say that I only have mint in containers and I covered them with agricultural fabric during the freezes. The leaves sustained a little freeze damage, but actually not a lot. And of course the plants are rebounding now very enthusiastically. As for summer heat, as long as you keep it watered, it will survive that just fine as well. If you want to have decent looking mint throughout the summer, in extremely high temperatures, you should place it in a spot where it receives shade in the afternoon. Mexican oregano is our number 9. It is very similar in flavor to the regular Italian oregano to the extent that I personally think you can substitute it without most people even noticing. What surprised me about this plant is that it didn't sustain any freeze damage despite being completely unprotected. I kind of thought that since it's native to Mexico, it wouldn't be very cold hardy and would at least die back to the roots, but the foliage shook off the frost like it was nothing. Of course, it does well in the summer heat, which you would expect from something called Mexican oregano. Number 10 is lemon verbena. This one also surprised me, as I thought I was saying goodbye to it once the freezes came because I left it in a container that was completely unprotected. It barely even has any mulch on top, but as you can see, it's growing back very vigorously, which I did not expect. In the hot summer, lemon verbena will be grateful for some afternoon shade and regular watering, but as long as it has that, it will make it through the heat waves relatively unscathed. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this list. Let me know if it was helpful. Let me know if it aligns with your experience as well. And I would also love to see any perennials that I didn't mention that did well for you in the extreme heat and extreme cold. Obviously, I don't grow every single thing in the world. This is a very small section of what you can do out there, and I am still planning on doing a lot more. So next year, hopefully I'll have some more results for you, along with some viable options for our challenging climate. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more content about gardening in a warm climate, such as Texas. And I will hopefully see you in my next video. Sylvia and Potato, out.